What is up everybody, I'm Sinestra and today I want to talk about the recent planned changes to Shadow Priest coming in next week's hotfix. If I'm honest, after reading them, I'm pretty devastated. This fix is going to drastically affect a lot of players in a negative fashion, and I feel that we all need to try and get our message across as soon as we can. So what exactly are the changes and why are they so bad? To start with, Blizzard put our minds at ease with this gem. Mindseer damage and insanity generation have been increased by 50%. Finally, we might not be as useless when doing big pulls in 5-mans. I really appreciate this change and it was sorely needed. Then however, things started descending into nightmare. Void form stacks no longer increase while Dispersion and Void Torrent are active. Blizzard then added this note: these abilities prevent insanity drain from increasing while active, which effectively reduces the insanity drain for the entire remainder of the current void form. This was proving to be too powerful, so we're now making sure that the damage bonus and insanity drain from void form remain in sync. Okay, I thought, that's not great. I see that you're trying to make Surrender to Madness more challenging to play as you feel that it's performing well. This change means that it will be dramatically harder to sustain 100 plus stacks of insanity, and also makes the talent Mindbender completely useless. Mindbender was only really ever used to help you sustain void form, and it was used as part of the combo with Torrent or Dispersion. So now without that you are left with only ever running PI, as Shadow Crash is still a piece of trash. Really making that talent row an engaging choice, aren't we, Blizzard? But then, whilst I was still reeling from this, the freight train hit me. The benefit of Mass Hysteria artifact trait is now capped at 100%. They then added this note: we want it to be rewarding when you're able to maintain Surrender to Madness for an extremely long time, but the amount of damage this trait was contributing in those circumstances was excessive. So essentially you have taken the strongest artifact talent trait that we had and completely ruined it. This now means that Mass Hysteria stops gaining damage at 50 stacks of insanity, meaning it's now possible to reach its full potential playing Legacy of the Void. This is completely game changing for Shadow Priests. I mean, if you're going to change it, if it was that broken, at least make it so it stops at 100 stacks of insanity. 150% I could understand, at least it would make some logical sense, but this huge reduction seems completely unjustified. People have spent weeks preparing artifacts for raids, rushing for Mass Hysteria, then grinding for their second dragon before raids. We've had to spend everything we've got in our main weapons to do this. There's no speccing into off-specs, we couldn't afford it as we had to take such a long route to get to Mass Hysteria in the first place. Now it feels like we've been gutted and there's nowhere else for us to turn. If you want to play DPS, you literally have to roll another class to be competitive. The thing that gets me most, however, the thing that makes me more disappointed than angry than anything, is that Blizzard specifically stated that they wouldn't do this kind of thing before launch. And this came directly from Ion himself. Listen to this. Sloopbag asked him this question: there is lots of fear that after the expansion goes live, players will spend artifact power and then their spec will get nerfed. Is the goal not to touch specs after live? What if a spec needs a change? And then Ion responded, Blizzard wants to make conservative hotfixes, not huge nerfs, so your spec still feels good to play. They recognise there's a big potential for disruption if you feel your artifact weapon is a mistake. So if they stated they wouldn't make changes this big, how can they justify doing this? This isn't conservative, this is gutting. Guilds have been recruiting Shadow Priests and people have been switching mains, and now because of this nerf, people's raid spots are going to be in jeopardy. And I know that Blizzard always states that you should take the player, not the class, but as someone who raids mythic content regularly, guilds can't always do that. My guild is stacked with a full roster of great players. All of them are people who do their research and play to the best of their ability. So when we're forming groups, we play around class power a lot. We'll have to go from taking 2 Shadow Priests to 1 or even none. So after reading all these changes, I jumped over to social media to see people's reactions to all of this. The How to Priest Discord was in uproar, and so were the Blizzard forums. In fact, one post caught my eye. A priest called Huralupa on the EU forums had taken a look at Warcraft logs to see how massively we were outperforming other classes. What massive rift was there between us and other DPS players? And I want to share what this person found. On screen now you can see the top logs for both Shadow Priests and Fire Mages on Xavius, Ursoc and Nithandria Heroic. And I don't see a massive difference, do you? In fact, on 2 of them we're being beaten. So if we're overpowered, Fire Mages must be too, right? Fire Mages will be receiving no changes in the next hotfix. Arcane and Frost are getting buffed instead. So to all you Shadow Priests out there, we need to send a reminder to Blizzard about the promises they made before the expansion launched. They promised they wouldn't make huge dramatic nerfs like this. We need to make them explain why they are punishing us for playing well. Because for these mass hysteria nerfs to even matter, players need to be playing perfectly. And we need to ask them what they want Shadow Priests to be for. Because they took away all of our utility and told us we were all about dealing damage and that we were going to be competitive. But now they seem to have changed their minds. So tweet this video at community managers and let's get the word out so that we as a community of Shadow Priests respectfully request that you take another look at these changes. Because we all disagree that we are too overpowered and the facts seem to be on our side. So thanks for watching everybody. I've been Sinestra and hopefully I'll see you next time with a bit more good news. Thanks for watching.